What we're going to do now, by the way, if y'all want to go ahead and hear round 3, this is a 4-round debate. We went ahead and covered 2. You missed it. You got to run this one back. All right, but we're going into round 3. You ready for round 3? Drop a round 3 right now. And make sure, by the way, Ryan did something very special for y'all. Your 100 prompt questions are here. Date night, game night, family night, whatever. Your hardly in love dating cards are here. What's the discount code again for them tonight?
Debate, DEBATE for 20% off your order, guys.
20% off.
And don't forget, we got Yada's Apple of Eve, which is an intercellular cleanse. Over 1,000 5-star reviews, which is excellent because it's hard. First off, we know about that. It's hard to get to 1,000 5-star reviews. So shout out to Yada. And this is the thing. It's really healing. It's healed you. Yes. And that was the liver and the kidney. Yes. And mom's bone cancer. This is an amazing product, guys. So make sure you cop that link in the description. And this is the thing. He also is looking out for the bag chasers, NDBA, and initiates because he gave us a very special discount just for you. Click the link, takes you straight to the page. Go ahead and cop that ASAP.
Absolutely. And people, just so we know too, Antwan has been helping a ton of people help achieve financial freedom, getting them financial education in the bag chaser community. That's the bag chasers as well. So make sure the bag chasers, they can join it. That's your Patreon as well, right?
Yeah, I don't have nothing to promote. I'm here to work.
Absolutely. Like and listen, and because you here, I just want to, and see when brothers come up in that spirit, you just want to promote that brother here.
And so this thing, we're a product of the product. We're the product of the product because we done called you to get the formula on YouTube multiple times.
Absolutely.
And we have literally just started implementing that formula, and it's changing our financial future, guys. Now, that does not mean that you should not continue to support the channel because we absolutely need your monies, okay? So make sure you click the link in the bio.
And with that being the case, we're going to move over into round 3, guys, because this is a very important and probably triggering question to a lot of people here, but the conversation must be had. All right, I'm gonna start this one here with you, Yada.
Yes,
because we popped off with Antwan last time. Should men be open to dating women with children?
He know better. He know this about to go so bad.
No. Can I be truthful?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I be truthful, please, brother?
This round you can't be there. Okay. Last round it was a little rough.
Okay. I don't believe personally that we should put our women in boxes. If a woman has a child or doesn't have a child, a good woman is a good woman. My wife had a child prior to me, and I love this child. This child loves me, but the child also knows that I'm not her father, but I play a role as a father figure in her life. She's probably watching right now. And if you're watching right now, baby girl, I love you and I'm thankful for you. When a man is able to lead, guide, and protect, when a man's able to walk with the attributes of the Most High God, it doesn't matter if the woman is single or not, because if a man can lead, he can lead. It doesn't matter if the woman has 3 children, 2 children, 1 child, no child. If the man can lead, he can lead. I believe, my opinion in my heart, that when a man is truly invested into God, and into bettering himself, God's going to send him an aid, regardless if the aid has a child or no child. I don't think we should keep telling women, oh, your value is lowered because you have children. That makes no sense. Now, brothers, I believe that if you're unable to even deal with your own personal emotions, I think you should stay alone and by yourself, or get with a woman that has nothing else going on. Y'all can probably grow together. But when you're coming into a woman's life that has a child, you have to be able to lead. You have to be able to father. You have to be able to teach, and you have to be able to love unconditionally, because I love my wife's child as if she's my own flesh and blood. So I don't believe personally that we should put a woman in the box because a man might overlook a divine asset sent to him by God just because she has a child. I don't agree to that. And that's like me telling a woman, overlook this man because he has children. No, I believe an asset is an asset. A woman that has a child isn't a liability. And if she's coming into your life to help you maneuver into becoming your greatest version, because a woman can help a man become greater emotionally and mentally, she adds on to the man. And if the child is there, this man, especially if he doesn't have children, he can learn how to father through this. So ladies, please hear me. Your value is not dropped because you have children. Men, please hear me. Your value is not dropped because you have children. Some of you, or some of us, me included, weren't taught how to properly wait until marriage to have children. So I'm speaking to the brothers that's trying to figure it out by themselves. I'm speaking to the women that's trying to figure it out by themselves. Love yourself. And never lower your value, regardless if you had children or not. Excuse me.
There you have it. We 100% disagree on this one.
Okay.
The previous two, we had some overlap and we had some agreements. This one, we don't. I like to get to the core root of the problem. And I think that what we do as a culture and as a society is we enable bad behavior by saying that it's okay. And it's not. It's not. The person that you have children with, the person that you have sex with, that's your husband, that's your wife. Before any of these Western modern laws that then incentivize people to get married, the person that you opened up your legs to was your husband. And so we have too many broken homes, and we're trying to puzzle this thing and Tetris it together to justify that it makes sense. Now, is there circumstances, because I'm never going to speak on somebody else's situation. I speak in general. I don't know him. I would never speak on his children or his wife. That has nothing to do with me. I
appreciate that, brother.
Right. So I have the utmost respect for him and his family.
Thank you.
So I'm just speaking in general. All right. So I want to make sure that I preface that because I don't want there to be any attacks. Right.
Understood.
But my point is that we need to get back to the core and the root, because if you remove the safety net, people would be more accountable for the things that they did and who they opened up their legs to. Right now, more than ever, there's a pandemic, an epidemic of women celebrating women having children out of wedlock. And we know that statistically speaking, that is a bad situation. You are more likely to end up in jail. You're more likely to join a gang. You're more likely to need therapy. You're less likely to be successful when it comes to future relationships. You're less likely to become a millionaire and earn as much. You're more likely to have debt as a result of student loan debt and things and so on and so forth. And so if we gonna solve for this problem as a culture, we have to remove the incentives for people to think that it's okay to have families outside of the covenant that God has ordained for us to have. Now, do circumstances happen? Absolutely. But it absolutely does not. That is not the majority. Most people are intentional. And let me address something else that he said. By the time that we are able to bust one.
Don't worry.
You can't predict sick days. But with Kleenex, you can.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right there, family. I'm gonna stop it right there. So you see the title, you see what's going on. The question of the day is, what should Black single mothers do today? Should we stay single, pursue marriage, or get back with the baby's father? Now, I want to go back to this video that I posted before.
71% of our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married, 63% of our brothers are not married, 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture. This only exists. This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American Black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistics. For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one, they're number three. And there's a reason for it. So, who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians, $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. Two are working. Who's number two? Chinese Asians. Household median income, $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people. Household median income, $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%. Down significantly. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income, $61,000 a year. Marriage rate, close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income, $55,000 a year. Marriage rate, 34%. And projected based on facts and statistics that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. We must, this is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it. Oh, 71% of...
Stop it right there. Now, I want to pull up some more stats on this. Since we're talking about single mothers, we're talking about the situation in the Black community when it comes to us building wealth as a nation. Notice that, like he said before, the highest median families or race is the people that have families, or the highest married households. So understanding that is that if we as a Black race are to increase our incomes for our household median, we need marriages, period, point blank in the discussion. Like, you got to have marriages to increase the household income. Now, the situation is that a lot of men are talking about, oh, I'm not marrying a single mother. And a lot of single mothers are saying that they are literally opting out of marriage themselves. They pretty much being cool on that. So we're looking at we're looking at some type of standstill or stalemate right now, right? So, like, let me pull up these numbers real quick, right? 70% of Black children are born out of wedlock. That's 70% of all Black children are born out of wedlock. And then you look at the next race over, right? You're looking at, it says that non-Hispanic Blacks is 69.3%, which is much higher than the percentage for the non-Hispanic whites, which is 21.9%. That is crazy. That's crazy, right? So back to what I'm saying. 70% of Black children are born out of wedlock. The next one is whites, and it's 21%. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. So now we got to figure out what's going on. Let's go to this statistic right here. In the United States, 48% of Black men who consider themselves Black alone are single and childless. So we know that 48% of the Black men don't have any children, right? So we know that 30% of Black men are making 70% of all the babies. 70% of all the babies that's born out of wedlock. Only 30% of the Black men is doing this. So the question of the day is, since we addressing marriage and we talking about how we're going to increase the actual percentage of the Black household median and increase marriages, this is something we got to look at. If 70% of the children are born out of wedlock, and not only that, you only got 30% of the black men that's actually having the babies. The question of the matter is, what should the single mothers do towards marriage? What should they be looking for? So I want to get back to this debate, and then I'm going to react to it, and I'm going to break some things down that probably can help us out.
We know what's right and wrong. You know that you should not be having children out of wedlock. This is not something that we have to discover. At a very basic level, we know better. And that's why I can speak to men when I say the majority of men, especially black men, do not have children out of wedlock. That is a small minority of men that is populating the majority of these women. And we don't really want to hold them accountable because we know that women are the biggest consumers. And so again, I'm not here to make people feel good. I'm here to tell them the truth. No, I do not think that a man needs to practice becoming a father to a child that's not his and trying to figure it out to negotiate and work with another man that wants to probably at some point participate in this child's life, because it is a zero-sum game. And I know so many people that regret the day that they ever decided to get into a relationship with a woman that then ultimately should have went back to her child's father. Go back to your child's father and work it out. Because that's the person that you created the covenant with. That's the person that you married according to God's law. Go fix it. That's what you need to do.
Now, what if a woman is saying that this man is just absolutely egregious? That's just somebody I was. It's not even something that I can repair, go back to.
It's not about
how
you.
How do you give that woman?
It's not about
advice?
her. It's about the child. Everything that you do at that point to bring somebody into this world that didn't ask to be here is what's best for the child. You remove yourself. You got to put down with self and up with God. What is in the best interest of that child? Is it in the best interest of that child for you to be raising that child in a two-parent household with the father? And if so, why didn't you think about that before you opened up your legs to him? Because we got over 100 different forms of contraception. It's not about how you feel. It's about the child. I do the thing that's in the best interest of my child, not me. I put myself last. But I also understand that the things that I do in my greatness, she's the beneficiary of it. And I would never, ever, under any circumstance, let another man raise my child.
And that's beautiful.
All right, now I'm gonna stop this right here, right? Because he was definitely talking about God and things of that nature. Right now, I want to bring up this biblical scripture because he says go back to the baby daddy. Now, in all situations, that's not the most ideal thing to do for a woman, because we know certain situations could have been abusive, certain situations could have been traumatizing, certain situations could have just been, it just didn't work. But I want to bring up this biblical scripture because contrary to popular belief, because most black Americans are Christians, and this is no slight for anyone that believes in Christianity or this and that, but we got to look at the word and understand what the word is saying. And in order for us to get on the right track, we got to know how to move, and Almighty giving us the blueprint with this, right? So I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 24. And this scripture in Deuteronomy 24 talks about a married couple, right? When it comes to their situation, if it don't work out, it says, when a man has taken a wife and married her, and it comes to pass that she finds no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorce and give it in her hand and send her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, the former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled, she is abomination. That is an abomination before the Most High, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin in which the Most High thy power giveth thee for an inheritance. Now, let's go back to this. The brother said that that's the godly thing to do, But we just read in the scriptures that the Almighty does not like that, right? The Almighty don't want you to be bouncing back and forth, going here, going there. I'm gonna play with the baby daddy, or I'm gonna go with this next man, and I'm gonna bounce back with the baby daddy. No. That don't work. That don't work. It ain't even realistic. So in this fact, the brother's wrong. He's flat out wrong. It just ain't no ways around that. He cannot say that, but that is a Christian mentality because they believe that the only way you can divorce a woman is if she commit adultery, and that is not the truth. We just read in the scriptures that if a man found uncleanliness in a woman, he could put her out of the house and another man could take her, right? So she didn't commit adultery by marrying another man. Not only that, if the other man say like, man, I can't get with her either, she can go and marry another man, but she cannot go back to the former husband. She can't go back to the guy that gave her the divorcement. That's the only rule to the situation. Now, understanding that part, we got to look at it like, okay, if I cannot go back to my baby daddy, right? And we looked at the numbers and said, we can't go back to the baby daddies, and it's only a small percentage of men that even have children. Do I go after a man that do not have kids? That's the question that's up in the air. So now it's like, okay, the baby daddy is out of the question. Getting back with him is out of the question. Now you up to pursuing marriage or staying single, right? So now you're looking at go after a man that don't have children because the majority of the men that's left don't have kids. 48%, roughly half of the black men, period, does not have children at all. Not only that, you're looking at guys that's either homosexual, locked up, things of that nature. So it's a very small percentage of men, right? And then you're looking at 30% of men, black men that have children. So now you cutting down to them numbers. So now we got to sit down and break this down. What is the move? And I got the perfect idea. I got the perfect explanation of this to where a woman will be married within a year. Period, point blank. She'll be married within a year. But I want y'all to finish watching this reaction.
What he's saying is beautiful. And he's coming from a place of being raised by mother and father. But you have so many women that never seen their father. They've never known that a woman should get married before they have children. Hold on, bro. Let me speak. Because majority of young girls are they're starting to lose their virginities at very young ages as children, looking to replace that feeling of not having a father. They just want to feel some form of masculine love. So if this child made a mistake at 15 or made a mistake at 16 by sleeping with the wrong man that promised her the world, oh, baby, I love you. Oh, baby, I'm thankful for you. Oh, baby, I'll never leave you. And she got into this woman's head because, like you said, fathers should know and teach their daughters right for wrong. You do agree, correct? Mm-hmm. So if the father isn't there and she's running behind a masculine energy and this man is saying, I love you, I'll never leave you, I'll never cheat on you, and she falls in love with this man now saying, I want your body. If you love me, let me get your body. She doesn't know right for wrong because she didn't see no man growing up. Now she gives this man the body. Mm-hmm. Now a child is born. That means that this man right here that doesn't have any children should not get with her?
Absolutely not.
Come on, brother.
Absolutely not.
Come on, brother.
100%.
Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
Listen, at a very early age, I was never going to not have a child, or I was never going to have a child out of wedlock. It's just the facts. We was never going to co-parent. I was never going to have another man in my child's life.
That's beautiful.
And this is the sentiment of most men, especially black men. This is a norm within our culture. Go and look it up. It's data, it's statistics. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. And again, I'm going to go back to the core of what I said in the very first conversation. You can solve for 99% of all men that are doing the wrong thing, and 1% of men can populate the majority of the earth with women that choose to be with this one man. At some point, every single person, including women, have to be accountable for the thing that they did and open up their legs to. And we also know that women are the ones that initiate the majority of the divorces. So they're walking away from their households and becoming single parents by choice. This isn't something that they're being forced to. So when because he's a great salesman, I got to give you that.
Come on, brother.
No, you're phenomenal. You do the whole crying thing.
Come on,
my
brother.
God.
Come on, bro. You're showing sassiness right now. Come on, brother.
No. This is what you said.
We men now, brother.
No, listen.
Come on, we men now.
Oh my God.
Come on now, brother.
I didn't know a man, and so as a result, I was looking for love, and so I had this child. You know what I hear? Excuses. Excuses.
Let me add on something real quick, right?
You're a great salesman.
This man right here.
I see why you got a great product.
This man, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. This man right here. I don't want to attack Antwan. Let me say this. No, hold on.
My life is perfect.
I want to make sure my words is accurate. Let me not try to attack Antwan. Let me say it like that. It's toxic to teach a woman to stay in a home where there's no form of love or safety or security, because that teaches the woman, the young child, it teaches the young girl that she should grow up and stay in a relationship with a man that's abusive, that attacks her mentally and physically, emotionally. We have to understand the majority of women will not leave a place where she feels safe. She will not leave a place where she feels loved. Men keep screaming that women are leaving men or divorcing men in high numbers because these women are no longer happy. They no longer feel safe. They're not being financially provided for. Mm-hmm. They're taking care of grown men. Mm-hmm. And I know brothers, right, that are amazing fathers, amazing fathers, and raising their bonus children. These bonus children aren't curses. They're blessings. And any man that's able to lead another child that's not biologically his, I salute you. Because the average man will not understand that. Again, Antwan was raised in a home with two parents, which is beautiful. Like I can't.
And he's saying that like that's a knock on me.
Hold on. No, I'm saying it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It like that's something. Hold on. That's what you're supposed to do,
brother. No, it's beautiful that he was raised in a home with two parents, but a lot of people didn't have the privilege of seeing that. So they're making mistakes, brother. They're making mistakes. She fell in love with the wrong. She fell in love with the wrong man. Whatever happened. But ladies, do not allow this man up here to make you feel like you're not deserving of a man. Or man, if you're in a relationship with a woman that has children, do your thing. I salute you. It takes a real man to be able to step up and be a father when no one else is.
No, it's not about do your thing. It's about going back to the thing that you committed to in the first place. And again, they always keep saying, do your thing, I'm surprised you ain't said queen at some point.
Queen,
do your thing, queen. Do your thing, queen.
Let me ask you this question.
At some point, you need to hold your parents accountable, right? Because again, we keep hanging this on the hats of men instead of hanging it on the hats of the people that came before you and put you in this position in the first place. I agree. So let's remove this whole thing that is on men. It's not. It's not on all men. That's bullcrap.
What's not on all men?
It's not on this whole narrative of what we see in the culture. This is not a black man thing. The majority of men. So stop making up this narrative of an abusive household. Was he abusive? Wait. No.
That's what I'm saying.
No, let me finish. This is my question to you. Was he abusive before you opened up your legs to him?
Now, can I speak? That's cool with you.
I asked you a question.
That's good. Brother, we have men that are some pro-finessers. They will give a woman a representation of themselves And when they've got their hooks into the woman, they turn into something different. No woman in her right mind is going to be in a relationship with a man that's negative, Nancy, breaking her down mentally, physically, and spiritually, not providing for her financially. No, they get the hooks in her. And then when he feels like he's got her in love and all she knows is him, he turns into something different. All I'm saying to you, brother, this is what I want. No, I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this. Every woman that has had a child and is not with the man aren't bad people. And every man that had a child and not with the woman is not bad people. We keep saying a man shouldn't be with a woman that has children. Why? Because she have her children, but this man has children and children aren't with them. We have to make sense of this. Why do we keep saying, man, don't be with a woman with children, but we're not saying nothing by the man that's not taking care of his children or there for his children?
I want to actually ask that question, right?
That's like a Little Mermaid movie that he just made right there.
Let me ask this real quick, because I want to know if you also feel that the way about men as well, because you got a daughter yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're giving her some instruction, would you pretty much instruct any woman? Is it the same rule that women should also stay away?
I would not tell a woman that don't have children to marry a man with children.
Okay.
I'm not biased on this. I'm consistent across the board. I don't think that it's in a. Could she possibly marry a good guy? Could a guy possibly marry a good woman that got? Absolutely. But I would never advise it, because I would never tell somebody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I'm consistent in that. And let me correct them for a minute.
Please.
Nobody said that they were bad people.
Okay.
That's just not your people. Everybody that's a good person is not for you. Everybody that's in a situationship is not supposed to be a part of your network. Every person that's doing something good or well, they don't deserve to necessarily be in your life, because your journey is different. And so I never said anybody was a bad person, but I would never advise a man to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And I would never, ever go and talk to a woman that have children.
Well, when you say they're not your people, what does that mean?
And what I would tell her is to go back with your child's father. And it doesn't mean that she can't have love. If you can finesse a man into doing it, then do so. But I would never advise my guys to do that.
When you say not your people, what does that mean?
It can mean anything. It can mean that we're not equally yoked. Maybe we don't need to do business together. Maybe we are going in two different directions. Maybe we have two different belief systems. It's a lot of different things that can identify whether or not a person is your person or your people and not.
Okay, so are you telling people they should be in relationships even though it's toxic just because of the child?
I never said that.
So when should they part ways?
I don't think that they should have got it together in the first place, because you know who a person.
We're already there, brother. If we're already there.
I specifically said no. I don't address if we already there.
Right.
I address. I address. Literally. You have to take ownership and responsibility for it. I don't believe that people are getting finessed like you painted the picture. I believe, because that's to say that women aren't smart. Because how did you get so smart afterwards, but you wasn't smart enough to be able to identify that he was a POS when you got with him? That's literally telling y'all that y'all idiots. You're not an idiot. You're not dumb. Most women know who the dude is that they got with and who they chased before they got with him and opened up their legs to him. You know that. You know that's why they say get married. Marry before you carry. That's why they say that.
So let's, because I get you pretty much talking prevention.
Correct.
Not necessarily in the situation, but I actually want to go to the situation, because right now our culture is facing this situation in large numbers, Anton. So I want to get your consult for the people now in the situation, because we get your stance, not putting us there.
I told you, go back with your child's father.
But here's the thing. If we have identified as well, to Yada's point, that the brother is at this point not working on himself, pretty much unqualified at this point to lead and manage a family, may not even have the desire to, do you still recommend that woman put herself in that position, or should
what position specifically?
To be in a relationship with this type of man, or should she go about parting ways and trying to find, just run it, be a single
Listen,
mom?
I took my vows serious. I don't believe in parting ways. It's death till death do us part, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poor.
These are single women, though, by the way.
Well, you said part ways.
Well, again, a woman who got pregnated by a man, they're not married.
That's your husband. That's your husband. What we talking about? You can't take it back. Ain't no take backs. We in this. It's me and you till we die. We gonna figure it out.
I don't believe I'm hearing this.
No. They asked me the question.
I never believe I'm hearing this.
We gonna figure it out. We gonna work it out. We gonna do it. We gonna make it happen. We gonna take on the world and we gonna take over the world. It's some things that we gonna have to figure out together. But you just can't leave after you got somebody pregnant. You can't leave after you get pregnant. What you talking about? That's your husband.
Man, listen, hold on.
That's your husband.
Listen to me. Listen to me, ladies. If you're in a relationship with a man, you're pregnant, or if you have children by this man, and this man is not being a man in your life, leave him. If this man is breaking you down mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, leave him and make sure he gets himself together. And if he can't get himself together to keep you in his life, that's not the man for you. Leave. I don't care what this brother talking about. That makes no sense, and it's devilish. It's too many women being killed by toxic men because they want to stay for emotional reasons of the children. Think about yourself, because you can't properly protect your child if you're being abused on any type of level, if you're not being provided for on any type of level. Love yourself enough to know when to leave. If not, you will pour this childhood trauma onto your child.
We use extreme words, and in order for him to even survive this debate, he got to use extreme words like abuse.
Oh, come on, bro.
Right? Because again, we're supposed to be talking to the majority, not the minority. People leave each other because they don't like each other, or because it's a difficult financial situation, or because they fall out of love, or because they have lust for somebody else. Of course, there are extreme circumstances where you don't stay in a situation. If you're getting beat up on, because that goes without saying, we shouldn't even have to address that. Of course, you shouldn't stay in an abusive situation. But again, he's using extreme versions of the conversation in order to be able to survive. When in reality, we talking about people that's just walking away because they don't like the person, or they don't like his financial situation, or they don't like what it is that they think is going on in his life or her life, or she see her friend and she get influenced by it. That's what we talking about. Most people are not just walking away because, oh man, every man. Come on, man.
A woman does not walk away from a place where she feels happy and she's stable on each and every level. A woman will never walk away from a man where she feels secure on each and every level. His man stepped out of a fantasy.
Some people think the Zaxby Sensation salad is too delicious to be a salad. That's why we call it a salad.
Look, extremes. Now,
I'm going to stop it right here. So y'all heard both views. Y'all see what Antwan, the brother over here, is saying. Y'all see what Yada said. Now, I personally have agreements on both sides, but I lean towards Yada's side. And this is the reason being. We living in a society right now that, like I said, 70% of children are born out of wedlock. So 9 out of 10, you're going to find more people that's coming out of single parent household. And not only are they coming out of single parent household, they are going to 9 out of 10 copy what their parents have done. That's just the way it goes. That's what they call the Willie Lynch system. This is what the so-called oppressors set up for us. That's why we are 50% more of children born out of wedlock than the whites. This was all by design. So now, the question on the table is, what should single mothers do? Not only what should they do, is that the men that do not have children, what should they do? Because like we said, we showed the statistic. Around half of the black men that's men of marrying age are single and childless, right? So if you single and childless, and you got majority of the mating population of women around your age group or demographic have children, what should be done in this situation? Now, I hear how people say that being a stepdad is bad, or it's not good to be a stepdad and this and that. Me personally, I come from a home where my parents divorced when I was at like 3 years old. So I always grew up with two households of step parents. I have stepmom and a stepdad, right? So now, when I look back at my situation, I don't see anything wrong with me having step parents. I didn't see anything wrong with that. Now, I can see it being a hindrance, maybe when it comes to discipline, or it could be a hindrance with being able to do things that you would like to do for that stepchild. But in truth, it was a blessing because I had two fathers. I had a biological father and I had a stepfather that was great. Both men were great men and still are great men. But today's time, they shun being a stepfather. But this is the truth of the matter is now, if you are a mother of a son, in your heart of hearts, what would you want best for your son? What would you want best for your son? Would you want your son to that don't have children? Would you want your son to marry a girl that have kids? Or would you want him to start off without kids? So like you got to think about this now. The question on the table is, what should a single mother do? Because every time I hear these guys talk, every time I done heard the Kevin Samuels and all the rest of these guys talk, right? They never give an explanation on what should a single mother do. I always hear go back to the baby's father, but that's not the most ideal situation. And anybody that tells you like keep going back to the baby's father, go back to the baby's father, that's no, because I showed you the scripture, even in the Bible tells you that if y'all was to break up, if y'all was to get a divorce, it's an abomination to go back to the baby's father. You have to marry a new man. You have to go with a new man, right? So all these people that believe that you cannot get a divorce or any of that nature is wrong. That's just totally wrong. So when it comes down to it, you have to find another man. But the question is that what can you do to set yourself apart? Because like I said, in your heart of hearts, what would you want for your son? And that's what I want us to think about. What would be the best move if I had a daughter? If I had a daughter right now, I don't have any children, but if I had a daughter right now, and my daughter has kids, and something happened between the baby's father and her, right? And they decide to split. What advice would I give to my daughter? What would I want that was best for my daughter? And I think that that's what we're going to think about for a minute. But I'm going to play this video and I'm going to give it a couple minutes. But I want people to truly think from both ends. If I'm a mother and I have a son that don't have any children, because majority of the men that's marrying age that's not married don't have kids. Only 30% of the men is producing 70% of the babies, period. So only a small percentage of men is making all these babies. Only a small percentage of the men are making all these babies, right? So like I said, getting back to being a mother, if I have a son, what would I want my son to do? And if I'm a father and I have a daughter that has that has children and she doesn't have any option, what is the best move for her? So I want us to think about this for a hot second while we play this video.
We saying that a woman will never walk away from a man if she feels secure. Most women don't even know what they don't even feel like themselves after they have a child and they got postpartum.
Come on, brother.
No. Tell me it's not true.
No, you're right.
Most women don't even know what they feel like when they have postpartum. And a lot of times these women are leaving situations when a child is an infant, when they're young. So if we talking about feelings, because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about purpose. See, love is not about how you feel. Love
I agree.
is what you do.
I agree.
And so it's an endurance test. Even the word of God, the prize isn't given to the person that run the swift. It's given to the person that endureth to the end. It's not a feeling. You might feel some type of way right now. That's why the word says that you can't let the sun go down on your wrath, because you then have to absolve for that. Because when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be a completely different person, right? So I'm not going off of feelings. I'm going based off of what is the current situation. And again, it's not about me. It's about the child. So you may feel a certain type of way right now, but we're going to work this out. We not leaving. We not getting divorced. Again, we're going to use his extreme example of getting your head cracked in. Don't stick around when you're getting your head cracked in. But I'm speaking to the majority. Don't just leave just because you feel a certain type of way about
Ladies. If you feel unsafe, if this man is not leading you to the best version of yourself, if he's not being that guide, that leader, and that protector, leave that man. I don't care about no form of fantasies, period. And men, if you're doing everything you know to do for your woman, to keep her happy, to love her, to protect her and guide her, and she's still doing things that you don't recommend, or she's going out there doing things she has no business doing, leave that woman. If not, your children will reap the hurt and the pain of that cycle. We have to break these generational curses. We have to.
This man is going to have y'all jacked up. He going to have y'all absolutely toe up. He going to ruin your life. He going to ruin your child's life. He going to ruin your family's life. Take this and really replay it and pay attention to what, because see, this is not even about winning a debate right now. This is about the culture. This is about your family. This is a life decision. This is not something that I'm just going to easily say something and say, hey, you should just leave. No, you should really seek counseling. You should really get together with your pastor. You need to go to God and pray on his behalf. You need to pray over that man at night and get your olive oil. You need to go and convene with the people of your elders and first understand whether or not it's you and it's not him, because you may be feeling some type of way based off of a bad influence in your life. This is not something that you just play around with. You don't just leave when you got a child in a situation from somebody that you've committed to and opened up your legs to and you've gave your body to. That's not something that we just easily just walk away from and just say, oh no, just leave. Leave him if you feel.
In the only mention of Job in the New Testament, Almighty God gives us a clue as to God's purpose for Job's
unsafe. No, you need to do every single thing in your power and leverage every single resource that you can in order to ensure that this is the thing that you are not supposed to be in based off of something that you can't control. You don't just willy-nilly just walk away from a situation and think that that's going to be conducive for your child. Because if you knew better, then you wouldn't be in that situation in the first place. Your judgment is already off. And that's why you need elders. That's why you need guidance. That's why you need mentors. That's why you need pastors and preachers. That's why you need a community to lord over you. That's what the community really meant. It wasn't about just taking care of a child. It was shepherding over the people that didn't know any better about themselves. And if you listen to this person, he gonna mess your family up. Don't do that.
The women.
Let's close out here.
Hold on, real quick.
I got a question. The final question.
Real quick. No woman left after the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time. They don't pray to God, got on their knees, talk to the pastor. These women ain't just leaving these men. They are mostly invested to them, loved them, gave them the body. They're tired. They're mentally falling apart. They're suffering from depression. And we're going to say, oh, stay there for the children. She's crying every night. Every night she's crying. But we want to put everything on the woman rather than, oh, keep your legs closed. This woman loved this man with her all, her mind, her body, and her soul. This is why she left. She sacrificed everything for this man, and he still has not changed. I would rather you leave a man than to your child to watch you cry every night because this man's verbally mistreating you, not properly taking care of you and treating you like you're trash. Ladies, you're not a doormat. You're not under a man. You're side by side with a man. If any man treats you like that, you know he's dealing with some deep-rooted childhood traumas.
So I want to ask this question right here because one thing that you said, Anton, was, and I think you said you was very intentional when you stated this. You said, I wouldn't tell somebody without kids, man or woman, to date somebody else with children.
Mm-hmm.
Does your insight change, or does your advice change if you're giving somebody advice with children? Do you now advocate for somebody to date somebody with children if they already have children?
No, I'm still saying you need to go back with your baby daddy.
And that's for men and women?
Yes.
Do you feel like that's the same across the board?
I think you need to fix your family. I want to see families together. I don't want to see this remix version of what we think makes sense in society. I want to see preventative maintenance. I think that we need to be more proactive instead of reactive. And I want to see families together with their biological parents. I don't want to see this remix version of this. And that's what my advice would be.
And I agree, in the perfect world. In the perfect world, I completely agree. But the sad part, we're not in the perfect world. People make mistakes. People are led astray. But in the perfect world, yes, but I agree with you, in the perfect world. Sorry, this is not the world we live in.
There you have it.
Pour your
Incredible.
What I want to do here, I want to go ahead. Can we get a poll just to get a temperature of who people rocking with right now? I want to get the Anton and Yada poll up. Let's just get a general sense of it.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right here. So we just got a gauge of what's going on both ends. We pretty much know both sides of this, but I want you guys to think what is truly best from the numbers that I've shown and the numbers that's out here. What is truly best for a daughter, for your daughter that has children? If you a man, if you have a daughter that have children, if she's a single mother, what should she do? Because we keep thinking of ourselves like, oh, I wouldn't date no single mama. But what happened if you got a daughter? What happened if something may have happened? She got, raped, or she got in a situation where, she just got finessed and she got pregnant. What should she do? Me personally, and this is my answer to this, and this is totally based off of the numbers. The odds of my daughter getting a man that don't have any children is slimmer than her getting with a man that has children and has another wife. Now, contrary to popular belief, most females today share men as it is. Most women today knowingly share men as it is. The numbers don't lie. If 30%, look at this number. If 70% of the children are born out of wedlock, right? And only 48% of the black men, or basically half of the black men, don't even have children, and 30% of the black men are married. That means that only smaller than 30% of men are making the whole 70% of these babies. So what do that mean? You know what that means? That she is sleeping with the same guy anyway. Dude done slept with 3, 4, 5 of your friends anyway. Now, as a mother, do you really think that for your son that doesn't have any children, do you think that a daughter or a young lady with kids is best for your son? Or do you think he should start his own family? So understanding that is most of the women should get with the man that already have children. But we know that that's only 30% of the men that have children, right? So if only 30% of the men have children, that means that more than one of y'all going to be with the same man. So now we get back to this number of marriage, right? In order for us to increase, in order for us to bring the statistic up,
If our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married.
in order to bring that statistic up, right? Because they already said 70% of the black women are not married, right? In order to increase that, so we can increase the median household income for the black community, is you're going to have polygamous relationships. That's just the bottom line, and that's exactly what I would tell my daughter. I tell my daughter that all day long. I would tell my daughter, if I know that she, especially if she has more than one, if she has like 3 or 4 children, I would tell her that you should be in a polygamous relationship with a man. Most men in today's society would accept it, even if a man that don't have children, he would take on 2 wives, regardless if they had kids or not. Because why? If I take on 2 wives, right, that would bring in more income to the house. That would bring in more income to the overall house, which will allow us to build wealth. If you got a house where it's 2 women and 1 man, you got 1 woman that's making $30,000 a year. You got another woman that's making 30,000. You making 40. That's 100 grand. Now you at the top. Now you in the top of the average median households in the United States, just off of that move alone. But if you decide to say, no, I'm going to be with 1 man and 1 woman, now you under that median with kids. It doesn't make any sense. In the olden days, they had more than 1 wife and it helped them build wealth. The black community always had more than 1 wife. The Bible teaches you to have more than 1 wife. So why today's time, if anyways women are sleeping with the same men, why are they not doing it openly and deciding to do it behind closed doors? I mean, today's time, they would literally text their friend or call their girl and say, yeah, I've been with John or I've been with Tyrone and he got this going on and that going on. But y'all do this behind the closed doors, but y'all wouldn't do it in righteousness and say, you know what? Sister, you want to get with Tyrone and we start a family together? Instead of y'all both just sleeping with him because y'all worried about what another people say that ain't in y'all, that don't have nothing to do with y'all business, because y'all trying to hide what y'all doing anyway. The name of the game ain't sharing the man, it's about being with somebody that's righteous. That's the name of the whole thing, period, point blank. You can say all we want though, but it's good people and bad people. If you would a pimp or you with somebody that's just some, a scumbag, then don't share that man. Period, point blank. But there's righteous men that can take care of you where you don't have to work anymore. There's righteous men that will be able to build with you and a family with your children. And y'all will be able to have a better living situation. Your children be raised properly, all of that, because y'all both are a team. Y'all don't work together as a team with more than 1 wife. Instead of being single, it doesn't make no sense because the numbers don't lie. It's more women than it is men. That's just a fact. And not only that, is that it's more women that have children than men. That's a fact. So if we were to increase the marriage rate, then it's going to be a period of time where we're going to have to look at this like the men are have to, if I'm a single man and I don't have any children, I would accept a woman with kids and if I can have another wife. I think that'd be fair. I think that'd be It's fair. Why? Because it's more income, it's more resources coming into the household. You can have one wife taking care of the children. You can have one wife helping you with a business. This ain't about the sexual part of it. We must get rid of the sex and look at building economical wealth. Because in building economical wealth, you need more. The Bible says that 2 is better than 1 and 3 is better than that. That's what the Bible says. So if we looking at this, we got to look at it as if we're going to build generational wealth, we need more people in the same household. And the thing and the truth of the matter is, little do we know, a lot of the women are sharing the same men. So why not do it the right way? If we're going to increase the marriages today, we need to do it the right way. I advocate polygamous relationships to fix the single mother situation. And I guarantee you, within a year, if a single mama was to pick a righteous man and say, hey, I would love to be with your family, or I would love to have a sister wife, or any of that, or y'all can still do this what y'all been doing and just be single and sleeping with the same man. It just don't make no sense. You can just stay single. You still sleeping with the same man anyway, but you sleeping with a scumbag instead of sleeping with somebody that's righteous, which y'all can build generational wealth, get out of the ghetto, and be able to take care of your children and be able to build for the next generation and help the Black community. I mean, it's a whole 2 different worlds. Either do it the right way or just keep doing it behind closed doors and be miserable about it. That's my solution. And that's what I would tell my nieces. That's what I tell my any woman that's in my family that has multiple children. Period, point blank, I would say you should share a man. Period. Because women outnumber men as it is today anyway. And your odds of getting with one man and monogamous is slim to none. Why would a man with no kids get with a woman that has multiple kids? It don't make sense. So the truth of the matter is that y'all are able to build with getting with another family. So I'm bringing it to that. I want to end out on this last little part.
We actually got a poll that's still alive now.
Yeah, let
right?
me close this. We're
Let's
gonna have
close
this
it out.
open for 28 minutes, guys. Should men date women with children? You heard from both Yada and Anton. 60% and 60-40. 60% of people say yes.
60% say yes. Very interesting. I want to drop that other poll just to get a sense of it. Matter of fact, how about
Just drop
this?
it in the chat.
Just drop it in the chat.
Yeah.
Yada and Anton, I want to get a temperature of the room. I want to see where people are. We're moving into round 4. This is the final round. If you're ready for the final round, drop final round in the chat because I want to go ahead.
Right.
I'm very excited for this one here.
Super chat's going crazy. Shout out to MTR Mediocre Tutorials. He says Anton is absolutely cooking. Big shout out to HI for putting this convo together. Make sure you follow Mediocre Tutorial Reviews. That's actually our boy JD who's chiming in. JD, we appreciate you. Shout out to Tunyo says, I don't think men should date women with children. I understand unique situation where it does work out, but time is already scarce. Now you add a child, it's not yours that you have to care for. No. Shout out to Jay Davis says, Anton watching this dude 3-0 sidebar. Atlanta Street interviews need to stop smashing those homeless chicks. That's nasty work. I don't know what's going on in the chat, but apparently y'all know each other. It's really going crazy. Shout out to Marriage Politics and Sports says, a single man should not even entertain a woman with a child unless he wants to marry her. Never lead her on just for sex. But if your preference is to start your own legacy, don't entertain a baby mama at all with no guilt. Shout out to Danny Shea says, step baby daddy equals simp. Interesting. A young woman is saying that. Very interesting. Shout out to Cassium says, seeing beyond the arguments, misunderstanding, and mistakes is realizing perfection does not exist in relationships, but their beauty is in the efforts to stay united as a couple. Shout out to Marriage, Politics, and Sports again. 77% of Black women have children out of wedlock by 24 years old. Black men have been left with very slim pickings for Black men. Black women, I'm assuming he's saying, what about the disrespect Black women give to the stepdaddy? Interesting. Shout out to High Quality Women, one of our very own initiates. She's added at least over a year with that purple badge. Shout out to you.
There you go.
Anton has a cute, privileged perspective. Anton has acute privileged perspective. I think she's saying he speaks from an ideal utopian world that doesn't exist. Single moms need to pursue God, self-actualize, and get educated on how to peacefully coexist with men. Man, y'all are really, really supporting the channel right now on the platform. So shout out to NBA going crazy. And that's no dusty bums allowed, just in case you didn't know, okay, which I support. And shout out to big bag chasers, which I also support because I'm a bag chaser myself. Shout out to Silent Sniper says, well, since Yada believes that childless men should date women with kids, how about he addresses the lack of respect those women have for stepfathers? That damn accountability. Shout out to Chantel Jones, one of our lovely initiates, says,
welcome to Conga Composer.
I really wish Harley Initiated would stop giving Anton a platform. His views are biased and based on his own experiences, non-compassionate, not considering human error and redemption, and erroneous as you know what. Shout out to Practitioner Her, another one that initiates. Ain't no debate if he gonna deflect like a man with concepts of a plan. Are you not entertained? Y'all are going nuts.
Make sure we go over 10 because it's going crazy.
It's all over 10.
Wow.
Shout out to Zeta. We're gonna have to increase it.
We're gonna have to.
Shout out to Zeta's Nintendo. These women choose those men when they see red flags. They stay. That's her fault. All of us men get blamed for actions of those few guys. They opened their legs, no protection. She chose to be pregnant, free will. Shout out to AR Smitty. That boy Yada throwing the Hail Mary. I'm gonna do two more. Shout out to Word Customs, always using extremes to move goalposts. How many of us know women who purposely got pregnant by a bad guy who ain't want a baby and think she can change him, then want to be victim? Nope. Accountability. Last one, guys, from Initiate. Shout out to this thing glitching. Shout out to Erica Denise. Ryan, your face is so intense when you're listening to the responses. You be so into it. I am into it. This is riveting.
And
Very
I'm gonna tell you something.
Conversation.
One thing about Harley Initiated, we're not gonna lean away from no tough conversations. In fact, I want to make sure our platform is the platform to galvanize and bring together the brothers so we can have the toughest platforms. I actually want to thank both of you brothers from coming from different sides of the world, different places, and sitting here together as men and having these conversations, bringing all of our followers, our listeners into one environment and having hard conversations. Because I believe, honestly, if we did this at home in our families, had the hard conversations in our own kitchens and dining rooms, we'll probably be in a better situation as it is. So if we ain't doing it in the dining rooms of your house, we're going to do it in the dining room of the damn Harley Initiated Studios. So this is where we at right now. We're moving into round 4 of the conversation, and we're about to get it. We got Yada in the building. I am delivered. Absolutely. And we also got my brother Anton in here. And let's go ahead and get into round 4. This one here is this one here also trigger, man. This whole conversation is a trigger one, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because we had a situation a few episodes ago. I had my brother Anthony O'Neill on. I had my brother Wall Street Trapper on. There was a sister who claimed that brothers over 40 and single were actually red flags. The interesting thing is a lot of the culture actually says the same about the ladies. We didn't talk about the ladies, but I want to bring that here to this conversation because who we started with last? Did we start with my man Yada last round?
We started with Anton and ended with Yada last round.
So we're going back to Anton. Because here we go, Anton. Would you say it is a red flag if a woman is, let's say, 35 plus and single? Is that a red flag?
No. I don't think that that's a red flag. I don't think that a lot of things that society and the culture says is red flags is a red flag. I don't think that a woman that don't have children by 40 is a red flag. Right? I just think that, again, I don't think that we're a monolith. I think that everybody is different. Their circumstances determine what their decisions are going to be and then ultimately what their outcomes are. A woman that's over 35 and single, that's it. No, I don't think that that's a red flag at all. I mean, if she's single with children, then I think that that's a red flag, because then you have to start adding the context. Well, why do you break up with the person that you was with? Man, how many children do you have, and how many different baby fathers do you have, and all of that? But a woman that's 35 and single, she could have just been intentional, right? She could have just been focused on, you know, her career, or, you know, taking care of somebody that was at home, or, you know, a lot of times it's a lot of men and women that are playing son husband or son, you know, wife to parents that then had children to take care of them, which was selfish on the parents' part. But that woman could be responsible for that parent in that way, and she could have took on that burden, which is not her fault, and she shouldn't have to take on that burden. But I think that is nuance and it's context. So I don't personally look at a woman over 35 that's single, and that's just the criteria alone as a red flag. And let me also say this before you go. Okay. I think that we all have red flags.
Right.
Some of them bigger than others, right? Some of us have some things that we have to work on. It's a lifetime of work that we're doing, and we're evolving as we go. You're not going to be the same person at 20 as you were at 30. You're going to be a different person at 40 than you are, you know, at 30, and so on and so forth. And so I think that everybody has red flags, green flags, and so on. The conversation I think that we miss is, what are you willing to live with and work through? Because we're looking for this ideal person, and we'll say, okay, well, they have to make this amount of money, or they have to be this far in their career, or they have to be a Greek, or they have to be in a fraternity or a sorority, and all of these different criteria. But we're not looking at the thing that you're willing to work through, because the thing that determines whether or not you're going to stay together is the problems, not the things that you like about the person. The things that you're willing to endure through when they're growing and evolving past that point. Even when it comes to financially, again, I spoke a lot on younger people, 20, 21, 22 years old. You may be looking at a guy that has all of the things that you want in life financially, and he may be 30, 40, right? He may be 40, 50. And you don't want to endure with this guy that ultimately is going to get there, and he has your best interest at heart. He has better character. He actually believes in God, right? And we see a lot of women walk away from that for the glitz and the glam and for the highlights. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think that that's a red flag on him. I just think that that's a growth opportunity, but she don't want to be with that guy, because the culture that we live in is saying to go with the guy that got all of the money instead of going with the guy that actually has the better interest in you, that ultimately is going to translate to the best situation for the both of y'all. So I don't look at a woman over 35 alone as just a red flag. I don't look at that.
Yada, what's your thoughts on that question, brother?
I agree. I agree completely with the brother. The only thing that I disagree with is him saying if the woman is over the age of 35 with children. You know, some women have given men their youth and been married 20 plus years, and the relationship just didn't work, and they parted ways, some peacefully, some toxic. But I believe that woman is in a place of healing. So I think all women, regardless of their age, if they're single and working on themselves, I don't see that as a red flag. And like my brother said, I believe that we all have red flags, and we should really get with people that can deal with that red flag.
There you have it. Honestly, man, you know, again, I think a lot of overlay and overlap. And it's interesting because I know you brothers very well as far as your content and what you speak about. And although you guys have a lot of differences, there is a lot of overlap.
Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Rather, and I'm joined by Lily Padman.
Hi.
We have my sister.
In your perspective, which is very interesting, but that's why I'm happy that we was able to get some nuance here in this conversation. What I actually want to do here, because we always like to get your first time.
Before you end, I want to say this to Antwan, brother. Thank you.
No, thank you
for coming here, man, and being respectful. You're a funny guy. you're a funny guy, but man, you came here, man. Your brother's very intelligent. You articulated yourself very well, man. And I'm blessed to have you as my brother, even though I might not agree with everything. I am blessed to have you as my brother, and this is my little brother, man.
No, but let me also say that I do appreciate him, right? I do appreciate you. And that I actually see value. Of course, we gonna, acknowledge the stuff that we agree on, right? But I see value in engaging in conversations, respectful dialogue, with people that may have a difference of opinion in me. And I think that a lot of times people want to see people in an echo chamber, but I don't think that there's any growth in that, because there are some things that he said that I'm going to take into consideration,
Likewise,
and evaluate and say, you know what, did he have something there that I kind of overlooked? And so I see value in you. I see value in your conversation.
Likewise.
I think that you are a blessing to the culture, especially as an example of how it is that you guide over your family.
Thank you, bro.
And so I have a lot of respect for you, even though we may disagree and we're going to have some dialogue, and we entertaining for the people and stuff, but I do respect you, and I do have a lot.
Hey, guys, I have to add this too. I watched a few videos last night of this brother. I have to say, this is the first time I've seen this brother so respectful, and I believe. Hold on. But I believe that it is because he was also given respect.
No,
absolutely,
and that's a fact. And
Shout
I
out to you,
also
brothers.
believe it has something to do with it's just some kind of Holy Spirit. It's a
Always.
Holy Spirit.
It's
It's
right here. All right, so at the end of the day, we was able to take a gauge on both sides of the spectrum. We was able to see at the end of the day, two brothers with different points of view. One is pro woman, one is pro man. Still had that conversation that we should be having on a daily basis, because in truth, we are at a epidemic of not getting married. So at the end of the day, I feel that these talks should be done regularly, because at the when it comes down to it, there's no way that you can get out of the situation as a race when it comes to our finances without us building these households and building these families. So until then, to the next video, peace.